Welcome to the final project presentation for the STD Case Report Data Mapping Project by Fireteam X. As shown, Fireteam X consists of Walter, that's me, Mike, Divya, and Chenzi. Let's take a moment to review our project. We were tasked with mapping CCDA documents containing information regarding cases of sexually transmitted diseases that require reporting to the health department to the fire resources needed to contain that same information. Then, as a fun extra challenge, we had to map the information from fire back to CCDA for electronic delivery to public health agencies. Although team members were assigned roles, everyone had to get involved in every aspect of the project to get this done. And we did manage to get it done and working rather well. We believe the results will be very useful to the continued pursuit of migrating from CCDA reporting to fire-based reporting. Here is one last look at the STD-CRX architecture. It did not depart very far from the original. We believe this is a good architecture for continued development of the application. The final deployment of the application is actually running at two separate hosting services, with the STD-CRX application deployed at Heroku, which works very nicely with the Play framework for Java. The Fire server and database are hosted at A2 Hosting, where we have Happy Fire running on Ubuntu. The project schedule reflects the fact that we are at the end of the semester and the end of the project. However, the yellow taskbar does indicate that there were a few clinical elements we did not get to implement. These were mostly optional elements from the requirements, but we did want to get them all done and simply ran out of time. As far as the future for STD-CRX, we would like to see those remaining elements implemented and a whole lot of testing done to continue improving on the accuracy and robustness of the mapping. Another nice feature would be a subscription type service for the public health agencies. And finally, security needs to be addressed by turning on encryption and adding authentication of the sending and retrieving individuals and systems.
Hello, this is Michael, and I'll be demoing the application for you. The first part of the application we're going to be looking at is called the EHR send page. And what this does is it sends a CCDA document to STD-CRX for processing. In a production scenario, you wouldn't actually have to use this page because the actual CCDA document will come from an electronic health record system. But since we don't have our application hooked up to an electronic health record system, this serves as a good way of testing, because we can grab a CCDA document from somewhere and then send it off to STD-CRX, so that STD-CRX can then take that CCDA document, parse it, and then convert it to fire resources and send it to a fire server. So the way it works, it's very simple. You just choose a file, and I have two example CCDA documents here on my hard drive. So you just choose one, and then it displays it here in this text area if you need to review it at all. And when you're done with that, then you just click on Send File. You just wait a moment while it processes, and here we see it was sent successfully. So it's actually stored on the fire server now. If there were any problems, an error would appear here instead. So we just placed an electronic case report on the fire server. Now it's time for the PHA to retrieve it, Public Health Agency. There's some filter parameters here that they can use to search for reports. They can search by first name and last name. They can search for certain dates, and the dates can be different types, either received, which is when the report was sent to the fire server, or event, which is when the actual encounter between the patient and the practitioner occurred, and when there was some sort of diagnostic test that resulted in a positive STD that it had to be reported to the PHA. And then at the bottom, there's facility ID. Either first name, last name, or facility ID has to be filled in. If none of those are filled in, you're going to get an error. And then first and last name is a wildcard search with starts with wildcard search. So if you search for like F, it will search for all first names that start with F. For our example, let's search for John. My screen's a little small, so I have to scroll down. But at the top here on the right side, you see it's processing. So it's searching the fire server. And then here we got one patient, John Stin. If you click on that patient, it'll then convert the fire data into a CCDA document. And this is what the CCDA document looks like. It has an easy way to select all the text. You right click it and then select copy, and then you can do whatever you need to with that CCDA document. Very briefly, I'm going to talk about how STD-CRX works internally. Here we have a research document that we put together with with references to the different tools we used. We used Java to write STD-CRX on the server side. We used the HappyFire Java library in order to connect to the Fire server and also convert resources to an object-oriented representation. We used model-driven health tools for CDA in order to convert to a CCDA document in an object-oriented way. We used the Play framework for our web application framework. We used jQuery on the server or on the client side throughout the web interface, the user interface, and we have some JavaScript plugins we used as well. We hosted on Heroku, and for source control, we used Git. In the previous demos, we showed the entire process flow. Here I'm showing you the Fire server where the data is actually stored. I thought it might be interesting just to see what the data looks like. So we'll look at something simple like patient, and we'll search all patients. And there's only 2 patients because if you recall, I only had 2 example CCDA documents that I sent from the EHR. So here you can see the JSON, and I'll just go over what a few of these things are. We have their race is here, their ethnicity is here, some data about their occupation, patient class, which is a coding. A lot of this data is coding. Here's the identifier used for a patient, which is their social security number, their name, their gender, address, contact information, communication, speak English. English is their preferred language. And then it goes on to the next patient. So all of that data came from the CCDA document. We parsed it out of there and put it into here. And like I said, when it comes to the PHA tool, all the data is retrieved from here and then converted to a CCDA document. And just really quickly, we can pick another one, a really simple one, location. And there's only one location because both of those CCDA documents are from the same location. So it's not going to create duplicates in that case because we have an identifier right here, which is shared among them. And then Fire is smart enough not to create another entry or another record.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed the presentation.